Okay. This series, it can keep throwing curveballs at us all at once, but damn it, if we keep swinging, we're going to get hit eventually. And at some point, we're going to get closer to the truth. Because at this point, let's be honest, we can stop calling these things demons. And I say that with quotation marks intentionally because these things aren't demons anymore. They're aliens. They're fucking aliens. That's the only thing I'm going to believe now. I don't believe anything else. And it was pretty much confirmed this week because one or two things is going on in this series right now. One, the kids are either on another planet, or two, which is I think is the most likely case that's going on in this series, is that aliens have invaded Earth and they're starting to terraform this area around us. In this chapter, we find the kids were indeed engulfed, but they were engulfed by nature itself. They were engulfed by the ground, being pulled into a world or an area that was surrounded by roots and surrounded by, you know, plants and animals and things like that. But it was definitely something of a tree nature. But how the hell did we get like this? So, I don't know. I mean, I definitely commend this series for taking this turn. I mean, because Promised Neverland has now went from this story about survival and getting out of this orphanage to now being in a whole new world and trying to find out what's going on. It's taking more of even a sci-fi or adventure approach versus what we've seen at the beginning, taking more of a shonen approach. And that's not a bad thing at all because, oh man, I feel like I say this every review, but just when you think you got all the answers, this series changes the questions on you because now we're wondering where we are. These kids, not only have they been isolated for so long, they are now part of a world that they know nothing about besides what was in the books. But the key to actually finding out what's going on in the world is the books that Emma has that was written by William Minerva, because those books were no longer fables, as we find out that this is actually real life. These stories that he has written for them with these coded messages is actually what's going on in the world, which leaves us wondering what happened between what we have now and the last time that we have actual literature on this earth. Because if you look at where they were at, these trees, these plants or whatever, it is feeding off of the earth. The bugs, the plants, and even the carcasses of the animals there, they didn't seem like they were a human nature. They did, but at the same time, it looked like they were a little bit warped and twisted. It could be a little bit of both, but it's definitely using this environment and everything around to feed, and these kids are next. So I don't know what we're dealing with, but it's great nonetheless because the suspense of it all, and for this series to take such a dramatic turn from being just about survival to now being in a whole new world, maybe even an alien type of world, is just a big jump from what we were dealing with back 38 chapters ago heading into chapter 39, as we have a whole new story at some point, as it's no longer about survival, it's about the fate of humanity and how it can be saved at this point. I feel like this chapter was really quick, even though it was in at about 19 pages. It was more about the shock and awe. These kids finding out that whatever they're dealing with this plant is smart enough to actually trap them in. So is this alien in itself? Is this just advanced technology that they don't know about? Either way, is now they have to find a way to survive because they don't know the consequences or what could happen if they try to take this thing on. Because, you know, Don's like, why don't we just burn it down? Then Ray stepped in and said, because we don't know what we're dealing with. It could actually make it worse. I mean, we are trapped. If we burn it down, we could be trapped in here. This thing is smart enough to trap us in. We gotta find a way to get out. The danger goes up and up in this series, and man, like I said, I do commend the change that is taken, because William Minerva's teachings has actually been less fantasy and more reality of what's going on in this world, as these books are going to be their guide to where they need to go next. So hey, Emma maybe came in handy for once, as she was able to figure this out quickly, that, you know what we're encountering right now are things that we've seen in this book. So I guess that's going to be the next step for this series, is to actually start cracking these books open as the reader, because, you know, Emma knows what's in them already. I think Phil was reading them too, so she knows what's in the books already and what this has. So maybe she'll start to recognize and see things that she can say, hey, in the book they stopped it this way. Like maybe it's a central figure, maybe William Minerva is the main character in his books. These are things that we don't know yet, and I hope that now that we're in this new world and we're looking for this character, those are answers that we start to get. But yeah, going from surviving in the orphanage to actually surviving in the wild, in a world that they know nothing of besides what they were taught. Oh man, Promised Neverland, greatness once again. And guys, let me know what you thought of this chapter in the comments below. This is definitely big because This is taking a complete change from being more shonen-like, being more of an action, adventure, discovery type of thing, and less of the horror psychological aspects that we were used to with this series. And of course they're still there, but now seeing this thing and knowing that we definitely are dealing with aliens at this point, it is of a grander scale, and it explains a lot of things, like maybe the look of how these things are. More importantly, like when Sister Crone said the name of the head demon, and whenever we seen the names of the demons, it was in some type of origin that we couldn't understand. It looked like it was some type of like dialect that you wouldn't understand. It's because of freaking aliens. So that's been confirmed. And let me know what you guys think, and what do you think the future's going for here. Again, I think that it is still indeed our Earth is just being terraformed. But if they are on another planet, that's going to be another adventure entirely, because it's probably going to be to try to get back home. But I think it would have more weight if the Earth was taken over and then we got some resistance or something trying to fight back and find a weakness for these things to take back our world. So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, guys. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If there's not sure at the content, you know I'll join on this channel. And as I always say, you guys be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.